So an example of the West Coast, right outside the fucking grocery store. Gentlemen, what do you think you're seeing here? Boy, there must have been a lot of cake, a lot of ice cream that they're eating out here, right? Lots of cake and ice cream. Yeah, that's what was going on. So, something, and with that, Department of Homeland Security, who you like tuning into the manosphere, because the manosphere is some kind of dangerous lot of lads. This dangerous milieu of men being manly. And so somebody had brought up on their show that Department of Homeland Security, I had forgotten that. Department of Homeland Security is terribly interested in YouTube and Rumble quote-unquote manosphere content, because supposedly it radicalizes men. See, it makes us rad. But the part that really got me is, note that Department of Homeland Security isn't worried about the Young Turks. That's what's important. DHS is not worried about Chunk Uyghur, not worried about Hassan Piker, not worried about BreadTube, isn't worried about, the militant feminists, no. Department of Homeland Security isn't worried about them. Why? They are no threat to anybody in any way, shape, or form. They can't do anything. They can't bring peace. They can't make your neighborhood safe. They can't bring prices down. They're powerless. Feckless is actually, I think, the concept. But a bunch of guys talking about video games that they don't want to buy, the Department of Homeland Security has to make sure that those guys don't call up Vladimir Putin. By the way, Putin, it turns out, is a George Bush-ism. That blew me away. I thought it was salty cracker, but it turns out, no, Putin was the name for Vladimir Putin during the Bush administration, because they liked him so much, they came up with a pet name. Remember how George Bush used to do that? He'd come up with kooky pet names for people that were really cringeworthy. Well, Putin was his nickname. So anyway, apparently, if men don't buy certain video games, that, remember, governments paid for these video games to not just be made, but then, remember what we found during Gamergate 1, that at the end of the rainbow, there was some weird nonprofit that was educational in nature linked to the Pentagon. And it had something to do with making educational video games. And a lot of these people were tied to this shit. So by the end of all this, I'm just kind of thoroughly enjoying. One of the most important points of all is there is nothing women in any way, shape, or form do which makes the patriarchy afraid. Most importantly, the gays, the women, the commies, the patriarchy is not afraid of them. The patriarchy is afraid of men not going along with it. Whatever their Pentagon, deep state, plot, whatever it is, we don't go along with it, and that's the problem. We don't watch television, that's the problem. We don't spend money, that's the problem. Men aren't spending their money at a diploma mill. That's a problem. That's a real problem. The government really has to be worried about that. That's what the government spends taxpayer money on. Men going their own way. That in no way, shape, or form are the Hamasites or any of these people associated with the left in any way apparently scaring the powers that be. What scares the powers that be are a bunch of dudes who are spreading advice on game and not going along, and can't express how satisfying that is. It makes me feel very important. Not as important as somebody like Rollo Tomasi, who, good thinking, Don. The room is nice and cool. And so even better, this idea of, educated women telling men what for, telling the patriarchy can't stand it. But they're paying for you to go to school. There's these schools are literally going, their DEI programs are for you, ladies. They're in no way, fewer men than ever are going to college. You dominate. You won that battle. Yeah, how does it feel? How does it feel to be a winner? How's that debt feel? How's all that money that you owe feel? Okay, well, time for me to do things that actually scare. The patriarchy, the fathers, they don't know what to do about men like me not buying Concord. How dare you? And now to see also how, people who read Zero Hedge were probably on a list. People who watch Alex Jones were probably on a list. We know that the government actually keeps track of people who buy religious books and buy books that are bought by the right wing. I love it. I love it. That now, no matter what Chunky Yogurt wants to say, the Pentagon favors leftists. And they're horribly afraid of anything traditional, anything Christian, anything that preserves ethnic traditions, any form of nationalism or genuine ethnic pride, that you're fine with you and your kith and kin, and you don't have a problem with other people. Oh, Pentagon can't have that. No, Whitey's got to pay. Roland Martin on that Pentagon payroll. Vance. Was it not Vance? Was it? No, Nancy Pants. The hardcore CIA, he's super secret, amazing Malcolm Nance. It's like, that guy, tough. He's tougher than leather has ever been. He's tougher than Turkish leather. He's tougher than a Turkish saddle. Just a nigger on the payroll. Glowing in the dark. All right, later on.